Hello, ladies and gentlemen, viewers from wherever you are watching us from. This is yet again a program that you've been waiting for every Thursday, brought to you by Mutembei TV. And this program is known as My Opinion. Karibuni nyote mahali popote mnapotusikiza. Karibu tena kwa hii kipindi ambacho tunakuwa nacho kila juma Jumatatu, Jumanne, Jumatano, kila Jumatano kila Alhamisi, sio eh? Karibuni sana. Hiki ni kipindi tunaita In My Opinion, na In My Opinion ni kipindi ambacho tunajaribu kukagua na kuangalia vitu vitu ambavyo vimefanyika katika nchi yetu, uongozi, na tunakuwa na mijadala kadhaa wa kadha ambayo inahusu uongozi katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. So karibuni sana. And for today we have again our two gentlemen. This is Wekesa. Wekesa, he is an astute analyst. He is pro ODM, and he's coming here to give us the views that represent, not necessarily speaking for the ODM party, but his views as far as development and leadership is concerned in the country. And also with us, we have Honorable Ndeto. Ndeto is an aspirant for Laikipia.
Kinangop.
Kinangop. Yeah, he's an aspirant for Kinangop. And he's here on behalf of UDA. So he's going to be giving us views that represent the side of UDA. So welcome, stay locked. Keep your questions coming, keep your comments coming that you think our panelists need to respond to. This program comes to you every Thursday from 10 to 11, and it's called In My Opinion. So any questions, any comments that you want our panelists to discuss, kindly put them right there. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll also be considering your opinions and comments. Young Evans, thank you so much. Deriko Okama, Ken Kibet, thank you for coming in. Ogina David, thank you for coming in. And now, without much ado, I want to bring in our panelists to give us their opener. So, welcome, Wekesa.
Thank you so much, Banandemba, for that great introduction. We were here last Thursday, and we are continuing with the second edition of the same analysis. We believe that as Kenyans, we need to converse on different issues so that all of us can have an opportunity of shaping the destiny of our nation. Kenya rise and fall on our attitude. So we need to have the right perspective in each and every aspect of our life. Most of the time, we have seen we flock on social media just to troll each other and not to have a meaningful conversation. So we think that every platform we occupy, we have a chance to improve our discussion and discourse so that together Kenya can have a chance to breathe. Thank you for giving me that chance and privilege to be in this studio.
Thank you so much, Wekesa, for your opener. And I also want to allow our brother Ndeto, Honorable Ndeto, to give us his opener. Ndeto?
Yes, thank you so much, Themba and Wekesa. It has been a week ago since we have such a similar discussion. I am Isaac Mutua Ndeto, an aspirant Kinangop constituency, that is in Nyandarua County. I come from Karangada, and I greet all the people from Kinangop, all the people from all over in Kenya. I greet you. So it's another week and another day that we have an opportunity to share views Some of us will agree, others will disagree with our viewpoints. But I believe the reason why we are here is to sharpen one another so that we evade in scenarios where our country can get into flames. So what we are speaking here is a channel to bring unity in our country. We may have political differences, but it is good, all of us, to understand that after all, we are all Kenyans. And today I am anticipating to discuss a lot of issues pertaining economy, youth, and also coalitions, because this is a very steaming kind of a period where we are in electioneering season, and no one can just hide their heads in sand or bury their heads in sand to assume that what is going on in the country is something that we should not focus on. So I am prepared, and I am ready for any engagement to maybe discuss matters to do with economy and other issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Isaac Ndeto, for that opener. Now, I want to straight away go into the next question that I want us to talk about. We see a lot of engagement of the youths in the political season. I want you to give us the number one, where we are coming from, according to you, to your opinion, where the youths have been engaged, whether in your view they have been engaged positively or negatively, and how is it that they are being engaged in your party of preference. And I want to start with Wekesa.
Thank you so much for that question. I will say that all civilization across the world were driven by youth. When you talk about the clamor for change, a new constitution, in Kenya, we saw majority of youths. That is the school-going students in colleges and universities were on the forefront in terms of getting the constitution and in terms of fighting for change and liberty of this country. So I will say that you play a vital role in terms of driving change. One, because they have the zeal, they have the passion, the desire, and then also they have that energy to do it, and they are also frontiering and ready to see new things. So we have seen youths being on the front side in terms of political activities in our nation, and talk about rallies. 90%, 95, almost even 95% are youths who show up. And so in terms of making a political statement, it is the youth who make that statement. And so they play a pivotal role in terms of our political change and shaping the political discourse of our nation. Yeah, having said that, youths have quite a number of challenges because politics itself is a very expensive affair. And so most of the time, even when the youths have that clamor and even want to directly be involved in the leadership, they realize that to move from point A to B, they need money. To move from one rally to another one, they need resources. And that is where the rubber meets the road. Some time back, 2012, we had a very vibrant youth movement where we were very passionate and wanted to have quite a number of youths determine the destiny of this country and be in the leadership positions. And as we began to meet and converse over the same, most of the time, there are youths, as our movement picked up, there were youths who were able to be picked up or bought, and then so they lost the vision, and because of the financial struggles. So what I'm saying is the political terrain needs a lot of resources, and most of the time it is youth who suffer when there are no resources. They are manipulated by those who have. And so when you find these issues of violence coming up, it's because a few guys have come up and decided to pay the youth to divert their energy from positive involvement in politics into destructive, manipulative, and drama politics. So we continually do our own civic education to one another as youths, and we say that being involved in such acts are not good because, one, they damage your character and your image. Two, they hurt the economy, and then also they hurt the cohesion of our society. When we confront each other because of politics, we dismember our own cohesiveness as a nation. And the politicians have learned to use that to dismember us and make us to look like we are not one nation. But yet youths only speak one language, and most of the youths currently speak Sheng. So Sheng has no Kalenjin, Sheng has no Kikuyu, Sheng has no Luya, Sheng has no Kamba, but it is a common language for a particular age group. So my take will be that youths need to focus and measure on the things that are bringing us together more than the issues that divide us. I will stop there, and then maybe I will pick it after my colleague has shared his opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Wekesa. Kindly, Ndeto, if you may respond to the same question. You are muted.
Okay, thank you so much. I have listened to the submission of Wekesa, and to some extent I concur that some of the big, great reasons why our youth, maybe they are used by politicians in a negative way, it's because they are idle. And let me give a context of the youth in our nation. Kenya is a youthful nation, meaning right now over 75% of the population are young people. So these are population segments that we cannot assume. And, you know, there are various demographic factors that characterize who a youth is in our country. And, you know, if you get to the education system, you'll find those who transit to the tertiary levels of education is rarely 15% out of almost 1 million students who do their KCSE every year. That can show you how many youths get maybe distributed to various areas or geographical areas in this nation every year. That is a point of concern. and it's an alarm because, you know, like when you come to the economic space, youth are also not so much engaged because you will find there are no jobs. Reason being, maybe these youths do not have the required skills. When you follow, if it is the problem of these young people, you'll find it is because there are no technical and vocational training institute across the world. If they are there, they are not adequate. Even if the structures are there trainers? Even if there are trainers, is the government setting its budget to support this docket? And even if it is has some money maybe to support the same, is our industrial environment favorable to absorb as much youth as possible? So these are some of the factors that has contributed to the idleness Wekesa is talking about among our youth. And you know what it will resort to is these people to try to find any process or any method that they can get some money. You know what? Like in this electioneering period, because there are politicians who are giving handouts. There are politicians when they are mobilizing their supporters, especially when they are visiting the various parts of this country, they give some money. And because these young people, some of them have young families, meaning someone is looking up for them. So they have to engage in all a sort of activities. And among them are even being used in a negative way, like maybe to bring some chaos against some politicians. As well, we have seen the issue of drug abuse escalating. We have seen the issue of criminality also escalating. And you know, when these young people are under influence of drugs or any psychosocial stimulant, in a way, they can do the inhumane things that we have seen. Like yesterday, all of us saw what happened, for instance, in Kodele. And I do not want to believe that it is a leader who incited these young people against the deputy president, because that's a sense of impunity. And every leader in Kenya is talking about, let us bring Kenyans together. So if there are leaders with that mentality, it is past by time. It is not good to incite these young people. Let us discuss how we are going to boost our economy. Let us discuss what is the key element or the key requirement required to like reduce the idleness among our young people. That way we shall settle all these problems. So as a concluding remark on the point about youth. So if they have something to do, you will find these cases of violence, these cases of criminality, and other bad things that we see in the community will reduce. Thank you, Themba.
Thank you so much, Neto. There are a few things that you've pointed out, both of you. The one thing that I haven't heard clearly is the plan that your various political parties have put in place to accommodate this or even work with this enormous energy that you have in the youth. So if you can highlight in a minute or so, either of you, to highlight what you think your various political parties are, what response are they creating to harness this strength that you're talking about, the youth. So you can start with either of you.
Okay, let me start because I've been on a break. I think one of the things that came out clearly from my party leader, when he was meeting different categories of people in his quest to have Azimio la Umoja, he has met university students and had conversation with them, and appreciated the vital role that youth play in shaping the politics and the leadership of this nation. He also categorically said that in his cabinet, if at all is going to run for presidency and God privileges him to be the 5th president, he said that in his cabinet he will have 4 slots. And there will also be a youth commission that focuses on issues to do with youth. You see, the youth commission will look into a range of activities and issues that affect youth in terms of maybe youth and then drug abuse, youth and unemployment, youth, and maybe in terms of how they are being used and abused in the process of politicking, so that together we can engineer the leadership of this country into the right direction, capitalizing on the positive energy of young people. It's not just a vision into the future, but currently we have the youth league, and then we have the youths in leadership in the party. The likes of Kina Sifuna are running the party well, and we realize that it's not like those days where it's just the old people who are in the forefront of leadership, and such a post could only be occupied by renowned politicians and veterans. But that means that he's appreciating that youth, yes, can make mistakes, but they need to be given a chance and an opportunity to exploit potential, and someone guide them. I've seen youthful leaders like Junaid Mohammed has been instrumental even in issues to do with handshake. From the onset, when Baba and Uhuru Kenyatta appeared at Harambee House and proclaimed to the nation that they have decided to work together. Alongside with him were young politicians like Junaid, and he has been on the in every step Baba goes, he has been like his armor bearer. So that means that's part of mentorship, that youth need to be held arms and mentored into the right leadership and be guided towards the top leadership of this nation. Yeah.
Thank you, Wekesa. Ndeto, what is the youth policy agenda that your party has? Because we can talk so much about the youth, but we lack the implementation process. So what are some of the things, the youth policy agenda? You are muted.
Yes, thank you so much. Let me remind Mr. Wekesa that to qualify in the youth category, this is those who are between 18 years and 35 years. He is telling us of Baba using Sifuna, Baba using Junaid. Junaid is 44 years. Sifuna is over 40 years. Those are not youth. And let me delve now in the key issue about the youth. You know, like Wekesa is trying to tell us that Baba has met university students, and he is even promising to give some positions when he becomes the president. I think that is not the way. The heavy bottom, or the heavy majority of youths we are talking about here is those who are not even privileged to get to those universities. and these are the majority. This is the burdening population in the nation. These are people who are more than, like I was giving an example of those who finish Form 4 every year. They are like 800,000 students, and only 15% of them make it to university. Where is this 85? And this 85, my party leader, together with the whole team, through our party, UDA, we have strategized how to bring down this issue of the 85% of our youth. And this is how we are going to make it. One is use of the technical and vocational training institutes. Let me tell you, this is the game changer. Go to and check to countries like India. These are countries where they have very big populations, people who are with a majority of young people. And if you see what they have used to transform these people, young people we are calling idle, into an active population in the economy, is by imparting hands-on skills among them. And this is how it will help. For instance, if we have a good electricity connection all over in the country, like right now we are at 40%. If we are able to raise this to 80%, for instance, this will encourage the young people who are taken into technical and vocational trainings, who have maybe skills to do things like kuchomelea, skills like salon, skills like even kinyozi, skills like wiring and such. They will get jobs. Either they employ themselves or they may be employed by the contractors as well. In the bottom-up economic model, we are talking about agriculture as another pillar of economy. In fact, what is required of a developing nation is we should produce surplus agricultural products, because, you know, every day the urban population is increasing. And if you ask yourself why the population is increasing, it is due to migration of young people going from rural to urban in search for jobs. So if we are able to produce more food that is demanded by this increasing population, we shall be able to curb the issue of unemployment. And who are going to take part in the agricultural sector? This is our young people. In fact, the bottom-up approach is talking about, is structured to accommodate micro finances like SACCOs and cooperatives. You know, like our young people will be trained to strengthen their small groups, the saving groups, so that they can be able to take the loans with low or no interest, to invest in farming. The next government, we shall be providing seeds for free to young people, so that we can encourage farming culture. And this way, it will encourage more young people to venture in agriculture. And let me tell you, this will balance everything. Because in a developing nation, what we should consider most is a primary products, production of a primary products. These are things like you harvest maize or your vegetables, then you take them to the market. You don't need to process. Maybe you harvest your fish, you take them to the market. So if we have empowered our young people to start fishing through the fish ponds, they will be able to sell their fish. And imagine how many people will be absorbed in the job market. So this story of Wekesa telling us that Baba is engaging university students, let him tell us, what is he planning to do with this 85%? Is he going to give them 6,000? Is he going, what is the plan of ODM? Let Wekesa tell us at this moment. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yes, just hold on,
I believe,
Wekesa. That's well represented. However, it's good for us to check our facts before. Yes, Junet Mohammed is 44, but Sifuna is 35 as of today. So that is also something that you might need to counter check before we bundle the ages across board. And even as Wekesa will be responding, you have given me the general economic agenda of UDA, but not the youth agenda. So you see, placing young people in your statements does not articulate clearly what is it that is going to be done. Number two, as you build the people who are probably right now 34, the next 5 years, they will have crossed the line of the youth. Other people who are right now 15 in the next 5 years, they'll be already at the youth bracket. So any policy agenda need to be to focus on those areas. So you might need to articulate clearly what is it at you've talked about youth polytechnics and stuff like that. What is the articulation so that we can see that, okay, fine, these are the things that we hold clearly that are out there. Engagement in terms of policy level, engagement in terms of course, training level, but policy level. What is the plan? Are they sitting at the table or someone else is planning for them? Those are the questions we need to appreciate. At what level are you engaging the youth? What you have said is what you're doing, what you'll be able to do with the economy generally. But youth, okay, Wekesa.
yeah, thank you. Then, but I wanted to highlight some of the issues you have touched, but however, let me emphasize what I wanted to emphasize. First of all, I gave the deliverables that my party has done. I did not want to dwell on generality and imagination of if we do this, this will happen. I just went specifically to what the party has done. You may dispute with their ages, but yes, even in your own circles, you think your presidential candidate at 55, you still think is a youth. Having said that, there's a challenge that I've seen the bottom-up people are doing. While they preach to us bottom-up, it only remains to be sound bites. But when they go to an explanation of what bottom-up is, it's a trickle down. He has just explained how they are going to do for the youth, not how the youths in that process will be empowered to be active and participating in the economy. So it is still the trickle down model being explained as bottom up, which doesn't, for me, make sense. They would rather simplify this economic model so that they understand what they are saying, instead of just sharing semantics that doesn't have basis. Two, what they are saying, what they are doing with youth, it's very dangerous. There's something called radicalization. Radicalization of youth is happening in UDM, and it began somewhere in one of the region where they have done more than quite a number. Out of the 135 rallies, they are skewed. I can say with confidence that out of 135 rallies, over 100 are for one region. And what they have been doing is whip up emotions of the youth and radicalize them. And so these guys are just excited about bottom up, yes, but they have no idea. If you ask them in this bottom up, what are you going to get? They have no idea. And when you look at the party and party symbol of their economic model, when they bring up a wheelbarrow, this is not something that inspires the youth. While they claim to be youth-oriented and youth-focused, their ideas are octogenarian, and they need to be laid off. Actually, a youth today, even today, mtoto wako akizaliwa, he will be able to operate more of a mobile than you are. They will know even more sites in technology than you are. Why? Because this is a digital generation. This is an information age. So you cannot be talking about you are a champion of youth, yet your model borrows from 16th century inventions. So what you are telling us that you are youth by age, yes, but in terms of reasoning, we are taking you back to the old Stone Age. This is the paradox of our opponents, and that they need to clearly understand what do we mean by youth. It's just not about age. No wonder he quickly went to the years and talked about that 5 and 44, because for them it's just about years. For me, it's about youth is about the ideas, the regeneration, the renewal. And that's why when you look at sometimes people like Baba, they think more youthful than some other youths in leadership. So let's marry youth as an age and youth in terms of ideas that we are generating. Bottom up cannot be a panacea to the youth agenda if we have not tied it. For example, when Baba says that there are issues of unemployment, he has gone. Yes, in 2021 alone, because of the pandemic, most people, and majority of youth, lost around 700, almost 800,000 Kenyans lost jobs. And most of the SMEs, which were being run by youth, were closed up. This includes even hotelier industries that were affected. So this mitigation where you maybe the only thing that you are relying on, it doesn't exist. If you are told that I will give you 6,000 just to help you come back on your feet, you know that is already structured. It's not left into are you guessing, okay, in this bottom up, how am I going to gain? No wonder everybody is talking about bottom up, is about wheelbarrow, is about Mama Mboga, as if we are going to reduce the whole nation into selling vegetables and pushing the wheelbarrows and mkokoteni. Empower the youth and allow them to be creative. Allow them to be creative. If I want to venture in IT, let me venture. If I want to venture in industrial whatever, let me venture there. But if you are thinking on my behalf and you have already predetermined that these are the opportunities. Someone argued that, you see, how comes we still have wheelbarrow as a means of livelihood in this century? Is that enough reason for us to continue propagating it? It is time for our leaders to say that this is enough is enough. So let us take a new trajectory and make sure that we are transforming our society. So that's my take.
Okay, thank you. I also was waiting, Wekesa, for you to articulate the youth engagement in terms of engagement and policy levels and articulation of the systems that are being put in place by the ODM party to address the youth issue. However, maybe both of you will find time in terms of responding to that question as you move by. Let's move first to the second part of our. I want you to highlight. I know Ndeto had moved ahead, and
I think you would have given me 2 minutes to clear something.
You can.
May I move on? Okay, thank you so much, Themba.
Hold on. You can do that and also get into the next part that is talking about the economic plan that your party has, so that even as Wekesa will be responding, he can also tie it up with what you have said.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me start by informing or educating Mr. Wekesa, because, you know, it is not good to ignore some facts. Wearing like a youth, it does not make you a youth. Another thing, you are talking about using the symbolism of party slogans and such. And you have given a wheelbarrow, which is a UDA symbol. You know, it will be very ignorant of us to assume that in Kenya, majority of people are not relying on informal settlement. Wheelbarrow is a symbolic kind of a tool that most of the Kenyans, including youth, they are relying or they are getting their income from informal settlement. That is exactly what that would like. It's a figurative kind of a language. It's something that is trying to like show you where we are as a country. As well, you have asked about the policies that maybe that are tied with the bottom-up strategy, which are youth-friendly. And for sure, the way you are saying that most of our youths require digital or what we call technology to pursue their different jobs or such, that is very true. And also, we should also think about the local production, because I've discovered, even at this moment, the amount of clothing that is imported from Turkey, from China, from name all those countries, it is more than what we are producing. Does it mean that in Kenya we do not have the capacity to produce cotton? We have, but you know, the government has been measuring so much on the trickle down. And you know, Wekesa has been confusing trickle down and bottom up approach. This is the difference. In a trickle down economy, this is where the government invests in various companies. And you know, they are supported through things like tax holidays. They are also supported by very big loans. You have also heard about PPP, public-private partnerships. And the reason why the government does that is to ensure that that company will create more jobs, that will absorb more employees. Against that, UDA is coming in this way, that we should empower our people. And the way we should empower them is through training. These training are informal, like through the technical institutes. Let them have skills. Then the next stage, they will ask you, where is the money to start our own business or to sustain our business? And that's where we should also be able to promote our the SMEs through the microcredits like SACCOs. You know, our banking system has been a predation in terms of high interest rates of various loans. But SACCOs, they will pay with low interest loans. They will pay their loans with low interest. Same to cooperatives. So this way, you will be able to empower. And you know where this money is coming from? Don't say that the money is trickling down. It is the taxpayers' money that the deputy president is telling us he will allocate 150 million to every constituency to pump these circles and these cooperatives so that they can be able to boost the groups and the small and medium enterprises of our young people. Yes.
Does what you've just said towards the end and the definition you gave for trickle down, what is the difference?
This is the difference. Both of them, you know, we are all Kenyans. We are getting the funding from the government, the taxpayers' money. But in the trickle down, the government is more focused on companies, on big organizations, so that it can boost them to create more jobs. But for the bottom up, it is getting the same amount of money. Instead of giving it to the companies, you pump it into the circles and cooperatives, where it will be where the women groups and the youth groups can easily get the loans so that they can be able to grow the economy. So it's like coming from the bottom towards up.
Wait. Name for me 3 or 4 companies that the government put money so that it can employ people.
You know, at this point, it might be so unfortunate to like mention, you know, we know companies like Safaricom, for instance, the government has its shareholding, and the reason being is to create more jobs. We know something like Kenya Power. So there are a wide array of various companies. And I would like not to mention the list because it is so large. So, the frustration.
So you are admitting that you don't know. I mean, it's a statement that you don't have the facts.
No, that doesn't mean that I do not have the facts. What I'm trying to tell you is,
okay, name one
companies.
Name 3 companies. Okay, I want to reduce it. Name 2 companies that the government has pumped in money for the last 2 years.
With Demba, you know, I've just mentioned Safaricom, and I've also mentioned
Safaricom is shareholding.
Check well.
It was not. No. It was not as a result of capital injection. It put out the shareholding out there.
You know,
and if we can hold on, it's okay to admit when you don't have facts. It's okay. If it's just a sweeping statement, we'll appreciate.
It doesn't mean, Demba, that I do not have
because you don't need to mislead the public.
I'm not misleading. Let me give you an example. Like where I come from in Kinangop, there is this potato company called Mindlad Company. Previously, it was a public asset. And you know what happened? It was also owned some shareholding with the private investor. And it came to a deterioration when they were maintaining the company. And the maintenance cost was so high to an extent that the government itself was unable to put the money that was required. You know what happened? Because the private investor used their money, and the government was unable to compensate them, it ended up becoming a private company. And that way, 12,000 Kenyans lost their jobs. Let me tell you what I'm telling you. I know what I'm talking about. You know, this is the risk. Tell me where those 12,000 will ever get back their jobs from. That's the risk of even the private-public partnership. Sometimes, you know, due to the recklessness of the government, due to maybe high loans and such, unable to pay various bills, you know, we are exposing our public to such kind of problems. Yes, Demba, may I proceed to the next point on how UDA is addressing the economy?
Let me ask you a question. Maybe you can answer in the process. Where do we put privatization? Because most of these companies you are talking about, majority of them have been privatized. And when we privatize companies, are we implementing bottom up or trigger down? Then my take also on bottom up, I will take the maxim of J.F. Kennedy, who says that don't ask your country what it will do for you, but ask what you will do for your country. Until it is the shift, the mantra you are using to explain bottom up does not actually empower people. In fact, it creates more dependence on the government. It makes people robots such that they are only waiting for the government to be doing A, B, C, D. Then the other angle I want you to answer me, you have seen when a company produces goods in a mega scale, if you produce 1 million, let me say t-shirts, for example, you guys, you are printing a lot of t-shirts and you're printing in China, not in Kariobangi for the youths, the bottom up youth. When you produce more t-shirts, they become cheaper, and so the cost of production comes down, and therefore you can be able to sell them. The reason why a few even companies in Kenya have been struggling is called the cost of production. So when you're telling us we are taking money from big companies and put them in small whatever, are you, in terms of cost of living, are you making it even easier or high? For you, and the challenge you have, you guys, is it's a either or mindset. That for the poor to come up, you must pick money from the rich. You are not looking at an economic solution where the rich continue to thrive, as the poor also are empowered to come up. That's why you have a problem with the Mount Kenya Foundation and whatever. You think that it's wrong to have billionaires in this country, and so we need to take their money and put it to the small. That's a wrong mantra. We need to encourage the investors, the big people, the big companies to continue thriving, because that is even how we will make our cost of operation even cheaper, because things, when they are taken on a mega scale, they become cheaper. And that's why we like even importing products from other countries, because they do it on a mega scale. And as we are coming with this bottom-up mindset, but at the back of our mind, we are still in a small-scale mindset. Are you getting where I'm coming from?
Yes. Themba, may I answer Wekesa?
Yeah, go ahead. And even as you respond, yeah?
Okay.
Hold on. As you respond, Ndeto, private-public partnerships is, in a large extent, has helped in injecting finances that the government might not have had to improve on certain and deliver on certain services. There are several cases where public-private partnerships have worked in development of the country, all right? Especially in infrastructure projects. Public-private partnerships have worked. Number two, it is not in all cases. There are what we call state corporations, right? There are state corporations, and then there are other organizations, like public organizations, like Safaricom, you know. And if you can go to the ownership of Safaricom, of course, you'll check it is not necessarily the government pumping in. The government might be, as an investor, holds a certain level. If you go to a place like Dubai, for them to develop, if you're going to register any company there, there has to be the locals involved in it. So you might have to comparatively look at that also. So when we bandy the idea that, trickle down is when you fund, but you can't tell where has that happened specifically. That's a general statement, good for political stage. But now when you come here, you want to see, you can articulate and say, this company was funded by the government to employ people. This company was funded, like, you can name 5. When you're coming here to give that, I think that will be more helpful than just coming and saying that, the government trickled down. And even as you respond to that, you need to appreciate, just saying that trickle down and bottom up, it might be a good idea, but if it is not told, like, for example, when you say, I know what I'm saying, but what you're saying cannot be given out. It is Aristotle that says that if what you know, you cannot explain it to a 6-year-old, then you don't know it. That means you should be able to break it down to the point that even a 6-year-old sitting here can understand what you're saying. Not just saying that I know what I'm saying. That is good, but now make us understand. Make the public understand what you're saying. Yes, you know it, but make the public understand what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay, Demba, let me begin with what you have just raised. It is good to clear this thing about some companies which have been funded by the government with the name of creating more opportunity. For instance, when you look back, a company like the geothermal electricity, it is in Olkaria. That company used to be private, but it brought some competition to the Kenya Power, where the government has more shares. In the same way, the government came in, and those people who vest interest in most cases are individuals who will go there by the name of shares. Then at the end of it, you'll find it is more even publicized. It's more of a public than a private entity. So what I'm discouraging here is not the public-private partnership. What I'm discouraging is, like the example I have given you about a case study of my own home area, the Midland Potato Limited. By then it used to be controlled majorly by the government. But there were government officials who also had some conflict of interest. They also had very many shares. So in this way, you cannot say that it is benefiting Kenyans. It is benefiting individuals. And when they decide to sell all their shares and they leave the company, you can imagine what will happen. Like what Uchumi did, for instance. Some tycoons pulled out of the Uchumi supermarket and such and companies. And when they pulled out, in a way, they were the backbone. So many Kenyans were left unemployed. So that's the very same thing I am telling you about, that whenever you see a public-private partnership, know that there is a very big risk of these people at one point coming to lose their job.
Hold on. Do you know ICDC?
Move on.
Do you know ICDC?
Just make the initials clear. Use the whole name.
Okay, now
because it might mean a lot. It might mean a lot of things. Like I can say TP. It can be tissue paper. It can be something else. Just use the whole name.
Okay, so I think I'll leave it at that. That
Anyway,
means that
we just need to do maybe a cross spectrum of on those ideas rather than because I think we are focusing maybe on one even small company and losing the whole track.
No, it means you haven't read widely about even if you have read about Uchumi Fall, then you should have known, at least you should have met ICDC somewhere. But it's okay. Let's let's leave that there. So
Demba, it is good sometimes to accept.
Demba, but let me bring Ndeto on the service.
Let me answer you first, Wekesa. Wekesa, you have mentioned a number of things which I would like to address before you come in.
Can you what is it that Wekesa you're about to say before Ndeto finalizes?
I wanted for the mute. I wanted to say that Ndeto needs to come clear on issues so that everybody watching, nobody's interested in the semantics of bottom up. Tell us, our presidential candidate, while he was in Jubilee, he promised us, was it how many jobs per year? 500,000.
Yeah.
And then they delivered none. Right now he's promising 4 million. Is it because of the name bottom up that those 4 million will come? Then he promised us actually, and he was very philanthropic. He said instead of 6 stadiums, we will make it 9. So in my view, when you talk about stadium, you are actually addressing the youth equation, because most of people who play are youthful. There's a certain age that does not make you physically fit in those stadiums. So these stadiums that we were promised, majority of youths who have talents to explore could have explored. Now, the same youths we promised stadia to explore their talents in football and other sports, we are now giving them wheelbarrow. I don't know how big wheelbarrow is for you to run around with the ball, but can we see that we are addressing key areas of creating job opportunities and employment for youth, rather than making youth to think in a one way in this overexploited hustle and notion?
Okay.
Okay, Deta, you can briefly just quickly respond to that, and then so that we go to the other part of our debate today. Go ahead. And if you have any question to Wekesa also, you can highlight.
Okay. You know, the abstract observation that and explanation that I will give is this. 2022, the government that will be ushered in, we need a government that is technology oriented. This is because majority of our young people are people who are so much into technology. And you know, technology can be used for very many things. Among them, you know, things like marketing of their products, communication. You know, there are a lot of things, teaching and learning. Those are a lot of things that technology has come with. And I am talking about production when it comes to the agricultural sector. If this area is well supported by the government, where we are in a situation that we cannot import eggs from neighboring countries, we cannot import just small things, even greens. We are importing greens from our neighboring countries. I do not mean it is bad, it is good, but just know the moment we import, there are some costs, there are some jobs lost among our young people. Why can't we use our natural resources? We have very fertile lands. We have very wealthy forests, which are catchment areas. We have all those conducive environment to support farming. What is this factor, or what is this barrier that is hindering us from empowering our youth to get into chicken farming, to get into vegetable farming, so that the increasing demand of food products in our urban centers, it can be satisfied by our local producers? And you know, in agriculture, if well concentrated, where we should bear in mind that like 4 or 5 counties in Kenya are suffering from hunger, and yet some potatoes, then there are some vegetables are rotting in our gardens, some parts in Kinangop or Nyandarua. Why don't we have the government coming in and it invest in the cooling systems, so that to maximize utilization of these products, to reduce the losses, and that way we shall encourage the young people who are engaged in farming enterprises. We shall encourage also this, we shall discourage the issue of brokerage, because when the production is so high, you find the demand goes in a way down. But we should be able to store these products so that they are not going into waste until a time when the demand will be high. And that way we shall be able even to regulate the costs. That way we shall also create very many jobs. Also, Wekesa, I am not
let me
against.
respond to that before you move, because
Let me finish. Then let me finish. Then you come in. Let me finish. Then you come in, because you know, you have highlighted a lot of issues. I am not discouraging privatization of companies, but the only challenge we have here is the corruption rates in various government agencies. You know, when a government invests an amount of billions of money in various companies, then the hands it falls is a hands not to trust. You can imagine that money will benefit only one person, as opposed to the time when this money is injected into various circles or even cooperatives. That way, it will be able to reach out to the money, to the people. And who are these people? These are the needy people in the society, from slums, from rural settlements, people who are living from hand to mouth. And that's what bottom up is coming to, like, fill that gap. You can ask the question now, Wekesa.
My question was directed to issues you have raised in agriculture. I think in thinking of agriculture, sometimes maybe you think up down. Why you have to think from the market point of view. We have seen just go across here, Meru Nation. The challenge they're having is not production of Mira. The challenge they're having is, where is the market? So most of the time, you need to think with the market in mind. So are we creating market for our products, or are we just going to produce and then afterwards we think we have engaged youths for an employment, but we've not created a market for them? So we need to begin with the end in mind, and that's why in agriculture sometimes you have to think from top down, where the product will be done, then the logistics, then you go to the production part of it. Then the second part I wanted to talk about is the political economy. Political economy is where everybody in Kenya is struggling. We have financial stress. The companies are struggling, but our politicians are thriving. They have enough money. I don't know how much profit they are making per day, but they have enough money to dish around to people and create those handouts for the youths we are trying to empower. And handouts fall squarely in a trickle down. So my question is, what do you think makes the political economy so thriving that it withstands all challenges, whether there's a pandemic or not? Our politicians continue to be rich, and they have profits to share with the public, and they never go into lack or want.
Okay, what I will say is this. In Kenya, we have the legislature, which passes very good policies. But when you come to implementation of these policies, it is poorly done, because those who are supposed to oversight or to ensure that these policies are implemented, there are people who are so selfish. And imagine, every year, there is a budget for every activity that is prioritized in various population groupings, or in various parts of these nations, the various levels of need. But you will find someone will tend to take some hongo so that aweze kupitisha kitu haiko halali kwa barabara. Maybe polisi anapata hiyo hongo kidogo to be able maybe to permeate something that is so toxic or something that is so harmful to the people, just because this person has selfish interest. So corruption is one of the things that has made our political economy to thrive every now and then. And in this case, you know, there is no one in the political space you will find it so clean that this person is not a thief, this person cannot steal. No, it's all about how the level of awareness among our people. How far are our people engaged when it comes to public participation in various projects? For instance, there is a road that is developed in a certain location. How far does the government involve the public? Or does it just come with rollers and start pouring materials, and also they come up with a road of which everyone will appreciate that, you know, since 1963 we are enjoying a new road here? No, accountability point of view should be highly regarded, especially by the Auditor General. How many times does the Auditor General share the reports on various projects? They just put them into archives. They do not put them into public websites because they do not want to educate all Kenyans to criticize what is happening. So until we have a sanitized kind of political space in the implementation of public development, that way we shall be able to curb what we are calling political economy theft.
Thank you. Theba, before you move us to the next stage, my friend has just admitted the political economy is thriving because of one, lack of oversight and accountability. So in his own words, are we admitting that much of the cash we are dishing out is because of corruption? Yes. And then if that has happened, out of 135 rallies, you've never mentioned corruption. Are you fit to be in the office?
You know, Wekesa, you should not be so selective. And every person currently, as far as they are presidential candidates, whatever they are, you will find them dishing out some money to the community. So don't focus so much on the deputy president, because I know that the direction you are coming from. You know, if there are accountability issues.
Okay, I thought you came here, you are representing your side of the story, and I have no problem if you talk about the side of my story. I'm here to represent the side of my story. I don't know why.
but I have to tell Kenyans the truth, because, you know, many are the times that Kenyans are left behind. Then you wonder, why are we going, why are we experiencing the same problems after every 5 years now and then? Remember, Deputy President was in a way pushed out of the system since 2018. Does it mean that he has been practicing corruption when he is out of the government? So let us also be logic in our mind formation, because if we say that he has been stealing, and yet we are here admitting that this is a man who has not been in the office since 2018.
I have a problem.
Yet President,
I have a problem in your argument. I left you to explain out, and you told us the political economy is happening because of ABCD. One is lack of checks and balances and oversight and accountability. That's why it's a form of corruption happening, but there's no that oversight. So after you have admitted that, then I asked you, as the alternative government 2022, and you guys have never spoken about corruption, are you going to provide these checks and balances? Are you shaping policy towards eliminating corruption? That was my question. I based on your submission, so don't play victim here. You are the one who submitted that thing, and I'm just asking for more elaboration.
You know, the deputy president has in many instances been supporting the judiciary so much. And if there is an arm that will be so strong in the UDA government, it is the judiciary. And we know the role of judiciary when it comes to promoting justice among the people, and also on checking on issues of accountability. We saw him even applauding the judgment against the BBI, because the BBI was suggesting that let our cabinet secretaries come from the elected MPs. And that way, let me finish, Themba.
Just hold on. I want to a clarification there. It is one thing, like I said, it's okay to go to a political podium and express certain things. It's another to come here and we remain within the confines of facts. The judiciary is not given its independence by any government. It's given its independence by the Constitution. So for anybody to come and say that in my government, the judiciary will be so independent, that is in essence telling us that there will be interference in the process. So I don't think it is true for you to say that anybody claiming, they can say that in the political podiums, that can be excused because that's them. But here, when you come in, let's be factual. Number one, the Constitution, as it is, creates, first of all, there are three levels of government: national and county. Then also we have the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. The other thing is, in parliament as at now, there's no opposition. There's majority and minority. Okay? The government as it is according to the Constitution right now is a Jubilee government, right? Where the deputy president is a member. The deputy president has at times supported what the judiciary has said, at times disagreed. That's a constitutional right, right? It's not that because of that, now he's going to make sure the judiciary is independent. There's nothing like that. It is the Constitution that gives the judiciary its independence. So don't attribute that to anything that either of the ODM or UDA is going to do. So you can carry on.
Let me come out clearly, Themba, so that I clear your doubts. If there is an administration that has oppressed the judiciary, it is the current regime. This is the reason. We have seen many instances, the Uhuru Kenyatta's administration failing to just ceremoniously go and endorse or vet a number of judges. And Mother Koome the other day, she was speaking out that in our judicial system, we have a backlog of over 700,000 cases. If you ask yourself, these are people who just went to the court to seek for justice. You know, justice delayed is justice denied. Some of these cases are over 10 years. Let me ask you, if we do not have...
Again, Leto.
Let me finish.
I want to call you out. No, wait. I want to call you out again. The Constitution gives the judiciary its mandate. The Constitution will, the judiciary will serve itself into a particular way. It will pronounce itself in a case. Now, the Constitution also gives the process of implementation of what it has said. Now, you've said this government has not obeyed court orders, which is true. You need to call that out. And one of them is your deputy president is in that government.
Where? He is not currently, he is put aside.
The same deputy president in 2017, when there was a repeat call, he is the same one who referred to the judges as Wakora. So if you go that direction, you are allowed to disagree with what the judges say, right? Let us not be so carried away with what happens in political podiums. Let us be factual. Number one fact is the Constitution creates the mandate of the judiciary. Obedience to the law and response to the Constitution and constitutionalism is something we can now address ourselves in a different forum, and we say, okay, fine. What has even right now, as we are saying right now, CAS were declared to be illegal in office, right? Some of them were actually suggested by Ruto. None of them has been told that you come out. If someone was to come out, you'll hear them making noise. So let's discuss constitution and constitutionalism in a separate. Let's not use it as now you're just saying this government, and the same kind of government, you are shooting yourself in the foot because the deputy president is part of that government. The excuse that, oh, he has been thrown aside, that is an excuse. That's not a reason, right? And the more you keep pumping on it, the more you keep pumping on it, is the more you keep creating ammunition to shoot you. So I would rather you let it slide, because that is the constitutional requirement. As to how it is interpreted, then that is different. So go ahead.
Demba, you know, there is a reality which we cannot hide from. Last year, Judge Malaga talked about the judiciary having a deficit of 23.6 billion Kenya shillings. This is the money that can add a human resource. This is the money that can improve the infrastructure. Let me finish. Why should you interrupt me when I am giving Nini and I'm listening to you? Wekesa asked me a question, how the deputy president is planning to fight corruption. I am answering, you are not giving me the opportunity or the chance. Listen to my argument first. Then you critique or you question. But if you keep asking a lot of questions, you are making me also to distort my reasoning.
I hear you, but when you mislead, is not right.
No, that is not misleading.
I'm trying to give you direction.
A lot of questions come from your sharing. So if you don't share things that are misleading, there will be no questions.
Go online. Check for those figures. You will find them.
Don't have a challenge.
Try to search for clips.
Wekesa and Neto. Wait. Who gives the budget allocation to either the judiciary or IBC? Who gives?
It is the treasury.
Now, the budget allocation, who passes it?
You know, Wekesa, Demba, there is what the government prioritizes. And for instance,
just answer.
Listen, I know where you are heading. You are tying me within the constitution, and I'm also trying to poke some holes that the government is not fulfilling, which when they are fulfilled, in a way, we shall be able to come out of these problems that we are getting through. But if you keep blocking me to constrain myself within the constitution, and yet the same constitution is not implemented, that's where the problem is. And I am showing how the next government will come to remove all these barriers so that to ensure our judicial system.
You were asked a very simple question that needed a straight answer on judicial independence. Is it subjective or not? So because according to your insinuation, that's where the problems came, and you are now running through everything. We will discuss a whole judicial and a whole executive.
My question is, let me ask you a question.
We need to limit our submission because these are topical issues we are tackling. When you're asked about judicial independence, is it subjective or not, you go straight to the point. You don't have to explain the whole judiciary and all the challenges they are passing through. Answer the question. Is it independent or not? If it's independent, so why do you think UDA will make it more independent? Will it do some constitutional changes and reforms to give it more power? If you argue like that, we will understand. But if you now go and argue about what happens around, that is not here or there. Kindly, we are limiting ourselves because we need to be focused on the issues, and then we go to the next topic. We cannot discuss a whole judiciary. We go and discuss the speech of Maraga and discuss now. We make it so.
Let me ask you this question, Wekesa. Is there any relationship between the executive and the judiciary?
All the three arms of government, it's one government. In fact, it's called arms of government. The government is one. But we have judiciary, we have executive, and we have parliament. They have their independence, yes, but they have now the interrelationship, which is not what you are saying, that one arm of government can coerce the other one.
Like, let me ask you this objectively. Like, we have seen President Uhuru failing to vet a number of judges, and we know the implication of this to the economy of our country, as far as the cases which have been being a backlog in the judicial system is concerned. So, if we get a president who has a goodwill, and even if those judges who are vet, maybe they have issues, then they produce others. That's the only problem that I have, because
but look at that problem objectively. Let me tell you, both the judiciary and executive have complained at the same time. When the president was fighting corruption, he said that mutataka nifanye nini because cases come on. So there are issues that the executive also feels that the judiciary is not doing their part. However, they cannot force them because it is independent. There are also issues that the judiciary feel the executive is not doing enough, but it comes on mutual respect and horse trading. Why? Because they are independent arms. That's why even president, after refusal, he still is subjective to the court. There's a judicial process that is still going on. There was an appeal and whatever. So that means he cannot rule out that process. He may have a different opinion, but he's still subjective to the issues that goes on in judiciary.
And then equally speaking, that it's important for us to understand budgeting process, the role of parliament. You see, the other day when IBC said it's an independent body, they didn't have money. They didn't go to the president. They wrote to parliament. When the judiciary doesn't have money, it is parliament that passes the amount of money that go. It has to pass through parliament. So there's the role of parliament in funding of those independent institutions. So it is a little misleading for you to suggest that the government has refused to pump money into a particular institution. That is misleading, and that is what I wanted to point out. So when you're saying they don't have budget allocation, they have to actually submit. There's what you call the committee, subcommittee for budgeting in parliament. That even what's his name? This guy Moses Kuria said he was a member for a long time, and when he was a member there are several projects he was able to implement because he was a member of that committee. So when you argue that this government is bad, it has refused to give money to the judiciary, you see, you are actually expressing your lack of knowledge, or the way you don't understand the budgeting process. That's why I said there are some things that are good in a political podium. But now when you come here, you want to only deal with the facts as they are. Just give the facts as they are without necessarily being emotional about it. Nobody is attacking no one. We are just giving facts. Someone coming here will separate facts from fiction. Maraga saying that he has not been given cooperation. The government indeed now brings the other concept, relationship between the judiciary and the executive. That can be discussed in a different place, you see, not right now. So you can go on.
Okay, Themba, I also like articulating issues from a slightly different perspective, so that also to educate Kenyans from the normality. There is the normal way of saying things, but if you go a notch higher, in a way, it will be even better. What I meant is, I have developed a number of budgets. The work I deal with every day goes around budgets and such things. And when you are planning, you prioritize. You check, like we have some issues with our economy. What could be the problem? if the problem is within one arm of the government, like Wekesa has said, it is the judiciary, then if you adjust their budget so that to cater for their needs, in a way, it will be passed by the parliament. So far as these people who are engaged in the whole process, the public, when it comes also to these legislatures, when it comes to all those stakeholders who take part in budget development, if they understand that there is a certain problem within the judiciary, either it is in terms of infrastructure or even in terms of human resource, that way there is goodwill to improve even their budgets. And that's what Maraga was talking about. So I did not demean that, like, I do not know the role of who develops or passes budget. No, I was just trying to objectively point out a significant point which can show you in the next government, if we prioritize that, we shall be able to curb even corruption to some extent. I think I can proceed to the next point on the economy. And surrounding
We
the
started with
UDA.
economy. I thought
Yes,
we
there is
started with, okay.
There is a point Demba requested about maybe what are we thinking about our economy in the next government. So there are various.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if it is Neto who has thrown me out, but
you know UDA.
No, you guys are very peaceful people. Now let's move on to our last and final. I think we move on to our last and final part. And that was the coalition and coalition building. I mean, in the past, we had seen, especially the side of UDA, your party leader had been very categorical about the idea of making coalitions with small, according to him, small tribal parties. However, in the past few days, we have seen a change of heart. We have seen him working, going to Migori and working closely with the leader of PDP, that is one Okoth Obado, and which we can definitely say that his party is, as referred to, the tribal party, but he was still there trying to work with him to access the Nyanza region. I'm informed also that there's the other Isaac Ruto, who has a party, Chama cha Mashinani, that has refused to disband, and equally other parties that have come up to suggest that they are not able to disband. So I'm seeing that kind of a change of heart coming in from the UDA leader. And I don't know what comment you'll have to that, as Wekesa also is talking about what way forward. Are we going to have Azimio la Umoja coalition? Because I saw that the name has already been secured at the registrar of political parties, and the suggestion by certain population, demographics, or the other parties that have said that, like for example, mostly in Central, they have suggested that they want their parties to champion their interest. And maybe both of you can also comment, what does that mean for the next parliament, where probably the party that will be having the presidential candidate might not necessarily have a majority in parliament, so it can produce what generally is called in political terms a hung parliament, where nothing moves, because you have the government, but you don't have a majority in parliament. So maybe I don't know, we can start with Wekesa and then Ndeto will come.
Okay, thank you so much, Themba. As we think about coalition and building different coalitions and agreements and different groups coming together, I think for us, it's not just maybe a form of acquiring power. It has been in our DNA, in our culture, and in our character and habits. One person, Raila Amolo Odinga, is a team player. So he not only loves Arsenal just for fun, but he also understands how teams work, and he does implement it. Sometimes he makes this joke in a political rally and people think, oh, hii mtu ni akitendawili ya kuchia mpira. But there are, truth is parallel. If it works in a political, in a sports field, can still work in a political field. It can work even in a different sphere. So for him, he likes to use examples that people can understand. And I wish this team could borrow some of the methods that Raila makes his complex idea too simple, that even an old woman or lady in a village can understand. So when we were running for, we wanted the constitution, 1991, they came up with IPPG, so that he was building coalitions across the parties to clamor for the new constitution. 2002, they built strategic coalitions to get the imperial presidency and party out of power. 2007, there was a Pentagon, which brought different players from different communities to work together. And we had, after that, we had Pentagon Summit, we had now the principles in NASA. While on a service point of view, our competitors want to trivialize it and make it look like a tribe is not an issue. My friend, in Kenya, tribe is classified as emotive. Now, when an issue is classified as emotive, it's not something you can brush it over or can play around with. It is a sensitive issue that you need to handle it, and handle it with care. And it needs a leader with foresight and caution and knowledge on how to work around delicate issues so that you bring about balance in the society. We have seen unskilled juvenile politicians who come in and they seem to see like it's not an issue. It's like when you meet a couple, wife and husband have quarreled or even have separated, and you think, what is wrong with these two people? Can you just go back and make sure you live together? You return them in the house and you think you have solved the problem. Or you think that all they needed maybe some money or buy them a flower and that is sorted out. No, you need to go to the details and understand why there are struggles between these two people. So we need to ask ourselves, what is wrong with the tribes in Kenya? It did not begin with the age of Kina Raila Odinga. It began in the age of fight for independence. And the Mzungu thought it wise to balkanize, to gerrymander us, to zone us, and tell me that Wekesa, you are a Mluya, and Theba, you are a Luo, Ndeto, you are Kikuyu. And by so separating us, it was called divide and rule. While we acknowledge that the challenges that have been there between the Odinga and the Kenyatta family are so historical that you cannot push away just once like that, we seem to overrule that tribes is something you can just bring people together and they put a tag, Hustle Nation. And people will forget that they are, Eric will forget that he's a lawyer. I can tell you this without blinking the eye, even in the church circles. When people even go to marry, at deep down their hearts, they want to ask, no, msichana ni Muluya ama ni Mukikuyu, because there are so serious issues to do with their tribe that we have been fed in our system, and we need to understand them and we'll see how we can slowly move away. It's a gradual break away from the past. I am a physician, and I was told that if you find a metal that is very red hot and you come with cold water and you pour on it, it will bend or even break, because that drastic change from hot to cold, it affects the elements. So what am I saying? And that's why when you look at Raila Odinga, he's a man endowed with wisdom and knowledge, and we thank God that God gave us such a great leader. He has been slowly conversing through our challenges. He knows he has the strength and power to go to Eastern and get votes, and go to Coast and get votes, but he still appreciates that there are local leaders there that he needs to engage. And it is the wisdom of the good book that a good shepherd comes through the door, not through the window. You don't come and you claim ownership. So while we want to make it look like being a tribal leader is bad, but that's how we were culturalized. Initially, before the westernization came, every tribe had their own leaders, and they guided the society in the right direction. And so when we met together, and if we have not leveled the playing field, we can still bargain as tribes first, because every tribe has its own interest. Me, I normally say, don't copy paste Germany to Kenya. Germany is one tribe. It's a homogeneous society. Holland is a homogeneous society. Scotland is a homogeneous society. But when you go to US, it's a federal government, because it's a heterogeneous society. People came from different walks of life. And that's why we have the albinos, we have the Negroes, and we have those, the whites now. And where you have a diversity of people who have a different historical background and challenges they have gone through that have made them who they are, you cannot just come and write it off and say, now together, today we are one. You need to appreciate that how the far they have come. That's why when I go to Mount Kenya, people normally tell me, Eric, you don't know the politics of Mount Kenya. And indeed, I appreciate there are issues that forms Mount Kenya. And as much as I want to participate in Mount Kenya politics, but I have to listen to them. There are things that brings Mount Kenya together. There are things that makes Western not being one block, because we are 18 sub-tribes. And anybody who thinks can lump Western together, he must be a genius to know how to navigate around the 18 sub-tribes that are independent. Those who don't understand that, how the society structure is, always just rush into conclusion and say, because they are homogeneous, we are united and the other guys are not united. Unity is not uniformity. Unity is about appreciating each other's strength and bringing all this strength together. That brings me to my point, Azimio la Umoja. Azimio la Umoja does not believe in a super god standing somewhere high on a mountain and calling all other sons of gods to come and worship him. Azimio la Umoja appreciates that each and every person have contribution in the society, and therefore they need to be given chance to be listened to. And that's why Raila Odinga talks about partnership, not followers. Contrary to our opponents who are looking for followers and radicalizing them and making them look the same and be the same. No wonder they are dressing the same. We appreciate, they are also talking for them for UDA to exist on Mount Kenya, Jubilee has to die. In fact, they pronounced it dead in some of the by-election. Jubilee is dead. So they believe in a zero-sum where you have to either be this side or the other side. But as we believe and appreciate, yes, there are parties with monopoly of power and autonomy, but even those small things matter. The God who created the elephant also took time to create the invisible things like bacteria, and he created the small things. So we need to appreciate that small and big can coexist, and we need to know how to nurture together. And today, Mount Kenya Foundation hosted the UPIA party from Northern Kenya. For the first time, the Northern Kenya is having a party that is bringing them on the table to recognize them as people and fight for their political space. We cannot talk about tribalism. That is a tribal party. No. That is a party that is representing interests of the challenges that Garissa people go through. I have never gone through there. In fact, if I'm asked, Eric, go and work in Garissa, I may refuse. Why? Because the challenges they go through are completely different from what me from this other side go through. They need a platform in which they can articulate their issues. And finding those platforms to articulate issues brings different groups. That's why we have the Women League, because they realize just going general about the society, you may not articulate women issues. That's why we have the League for the physically challenged people. They realize if we go general there, we are left out. That is the idea behind coalition building. It's not just bringing different tribal leaders to form government. It is bringing different ideological formations and cultural formations to make one Kenya, and appreciating that even the smallest tribe, El Chamus and this is the other one which is in Kibera, matter. And if they decide that they want autonomy in a country where they can have a platform to air their views, we don't dictate to them. Democracy demands that you can be the majority, but also allow the minority to have their say. I'll stop there for maybe for a response or for Ndeto to have his submission before I can respond and add more flesh to what I was saying.
Yes, Ndeto, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. You know, UDA is a national party. And, you know, like, Wekesa, you know, you have stated about the ODM leader, he is a team player. And also you have revolved so much around tribalism that Kenya, you know, we are dominated by tribes, the tribal parties, tribal chiefs, issues. But this is the point. You have also noted that, you know, by encouraging a coalition, which UDA is not, it's like you are bringing new ideas from various groups of people that you are able to meet the inclusion of the big picture. I have a very different opinion. This is the reason. In Kenya, we are undergoing a political transition. And if we are really a democratic nation, what we are right now, our democracy is not yet mature. That's when you can see people would like to come in with 1,000 parties. Other than, you know, I admire democracies like South Africa. When you check the ANC, African National Congress Party, it was formed in the year 1912. And to date, they have more than 50% of the legislature in the parliament. You know, what are they doing that we are not doing? And that's why in Kenya, UDA has come to unite all Kenyans. You don't have to come with a certain tool or a certain through a certain party. You can give it up because it's all about ideas. It's all about the problems that are affecting our people. And we have a common denominator when it comes to issues. You will find our constitution paying much emphasis on inclusion of the marginalized communities, inclusion of people with disabilities, inclusion of maybe the issue of gender disparities and such. And, you know, if there is a party I have seen people, it's including all this, it is UDA. The other day, our presidential candidate stated it clearly that all those people who will vie via UDA and they are living with disabilities, they will be sponsored for free. And this will encourage more people who have disability issues to be more included in the next government. When you just move around, if there is a party that has been supported by very many women who are governors, who are MPs, I've been seeing these women defecting from their parties to come into the UDA. Even those who are aspiring, not only those in the government, those who are even aspiring for various positions, women are highly regarded and they are really supported and they are encouraged even to take more positions in UDA. So we cannot keep repeating political policies or various political trends of 1963. You know, I like Kanu for where it is. Since independence, this is a party that has been thriving. But how much energy does it have in the political space? You know, if we have leaders coming up from various regions, like I have seen in UDA, those from Central, there are those also from Western, there are those from the coastal region, there are those from other regions. They come together and they present their grievances or the needs of their societies. Then it is included. And that kind of public participation, even in developing the manifestos of a certain party, it is very important because this will be the strength of that party, that we were brought together not by our political interest, but by the needs of our people. And every time those people who will be voted through the party, they will be talking about we need money, we need resources so that to empower our people. And also we will pass policies which will improve on what is existing, or also something totally new, like the way we are talking about young people. We, you know, UDA is encouraging a lot of young people to get into the political space. Let them come, they vie using through the UDA, so that when we also get into the parliament, we check what these other leaders have not been doing. That way, we shall encourage good policies which will cater for the majority of our population. As well, you know, it doesn't mean that having a coalition will include everyone in the society. No, we have seen like the leader of the ODM party, for instance, if you check like in 2002, he was a leader of LDP, and this is what he supported Kibaki, and they formed a government. Then when you come to 2007, in a way, after what happened, they also came together, and we saw the challenges which faced the Moi Kibaki's government, especially the second term. You know, people are coming in as they coalesce, but when they come in the government, they may disagree. When they disagree, every leader would mobilize his or her team. Then, if it is against the incumbent, then there will be no much development. But if it is a synergy, then it will be of big help to the people. So for UDA, the reason why William Samoei Ruto is discouraging these issues of welding many parties to form a coalition is because he is focused. He has a vision. Look at ANC in South Africa. Since 1912, look at some parties in developed economy. Like in USA, you will find there is a Democratic Party and a Republic Party. They are two. Then there are other parties, but no one takes so much attention of them. So if we are going to have a number of parties, but a few of them be strong, we shall be able to address issues of accountability. We shall be able even to have responsible politicians, because the party discipline will also be highly regarded. And this is what is missing in our government. This is what is missing in our democracy. That, you know, because we have over 100 parties, if today I get a problem here, I am able to move from this party to another party, that hoping, then you will evade from a certain matter of accountability. So this way, I discourage the issue of the coalition. I would encourage, if ODM starts as ODM, and those who would like to be voted for through the ODM ticket, let them surrender their parties and come and subscribe to various policies in ODM. And if they feel the policies are not suiting them, let them restructure the policies so that it favors all the members who would like to be voted for through that party. And that is what is happening in the UDA. Yes, Wekesa.
I have a question, a few questions concerning your submission. My first question will be, have you guys learned anything or not? Because when you talk about party discipline, the most challenges we have had even up to now, why the president and the deputy having a problem, it didn't happen in a small party. It happened in the biggest party. And so its bigness never helped to enhance democracy, but actually it stifled. In fact, it was an argument of Moses Kuria before he left this country. He said that, I wish we retained Jubilee of 2013 to 2017. It was a coalition of parties and there was mutual respect. But the moment we dissolved our parties and made it one, we lost it. The moment Raila dissolved NDP and made it a KANU appendage, and he became a KANU member, he lost it. So it appears we are not learning from history. While you hail KANU and ANC, actually ANC, it may look good, it may have stood years because it has some kind of imperialism that KANU had. They are still many miles behind us. And I watched the speech of our deputy president, and he was arguing about we cannot go back to imperial presidency. But imperial presidency never happened in utopia. There was an imperial party called KANU, the most big party and powerful party in this country, where Joseph Kamotho was the most powerful Secretary General of the country. When he speaks, KANU has spoken. So you cannot selectively argue for imperialism and against imperialism. You need to understand that if KANU was a coalition, it will not have done all those ills it did. It did because it was a big party and it could dictate. That's why you could go to Amchucha Mlolongo and people stand on the line, and then the longest line is declared the winner. If UDA today has 90% of Kenyans, I can tell you, William Ruto can stand there and say, Moses Kuria, I don't want you. And that happens. Hakuna kitu utafanya. He has already shown signs. He was in Muranga. There are 3 contenders. This is we have Irungu Kangata, we have this Chamlek, and the other guy, I will still remember his name. And the guy is already trying to endorse one candidate, and because he has a mindset that already Central has accepted him, so he can dictate on who becomes the leader there. Avoid big parties. If our democracy has not grown, big parties can stifle democracy. They can be centers of suffocation and intimidation and killing small voices in the country. As our democracy is still progressing, let's allow people to ventilate through their own parties until we mature and we form parties based on ideology. But right now, a big party is a danger. And I salute my party leader.
And that I don't know what happened to your camera. You're facing down.
I realize when you guys go like that, you hang, and like network ipatikani. You also went that way and disappeared.
That, are you there?
Yes.
No,
Your camera is tilted.
Can you rotate your camera?
Neto. Okay. I even as Neto is coming, there's something I needed to highlight, that he's talked about ANC and ANC being a party that is ruling without necessarily being in any. It's a strong party, yes, but ANC is in an alliance with other 2 parties. That is South African Communist Party and Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, which they call a tripartite alliance. So even as much as it's a strong party, it acknowledges the other smaller parties that came in and joined them. So it's called a tripartite alliance. So we might need to appreciate that. But also on what we have said, development of parties takes time, and what has been witnessed in terms of what has been what happened? You want to unmute?
Sorry,
Yes,
I don't know what really passed along.
I think you have network issues because while you have come back, I was seeing you are in it twice. You are appearing twice. I had to delete one.
Okay.
Oh, hey, that. Okay, thank you.
So I was in the middle of saying that you talked about ANC in South Africa. You may want to have this as information. It has 2 other coalition partners. That is the South African Communist Party and Congress of South African Trade Unions, which are partnering with the ANC. And they have been partnering with the ANC for quite a while. And so even as much as it's a strong party, there's acknowledgement of other smaller parties that work with it, which is acknowledgement that people might be there, but they have different persuasions. while appreciating what the deputy president is doing in terms of developing a strong party, which is his own right. However, like what Wekesa is saying, we ought to appreciate that democracy sometimes can suffer in the hands of bigger parties. And if you might want to remember, in South Africa, there's what we call the Federal Freedom Fighters Party that is led by one Malema, who was a member of ANC. It was formed as a result of a revolt from the certain tendencies of bigger parties. So appreciation of smaller parties that may want to respond to certain concerns is important. Even in the US that you have talked about, the presidential candidate may not necessarily, they might not follow ethnic, but we follow other interests. For example, you find there are Hispanics, there are probably immigrant families, there are white families. So when they campaign on targeted messaging to those particular interests as much as they are Democrats or they are Republicans. So there's still that segmentation within the population, even as much as we are talking about that we want to build this as a one nation. There's still acknowledgement of their individual strengths, which is what makes a country great. Your individual strengths, your divisions or your differences should not divide you, but they should make you strong. So you find, like, for example, if you go to the demographics and voting in the US, generally the whites have voted pro-Republicans, while the blacks and immigrants have voted pro-Democrats. It is only the election that passed when Trump was defeated that we found largely whites also voting for the Democrat Biden, because they probably didn't like the presidential candidate that came in. So it's while we want to compare, it's also important for us to appreciate the realities. But I get your opinions and views on different coalitions and political party system and stuff. I think the debate is still on. We'll still be able to catch up. Yeah, I want to give you 2 minutes each to give your closing remarks. We've stayed on beyond the 1 hour, but I think it has been very informative and helpful to our listeners. So I want to allow you, Deto, to go first on your closing. 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me, before I place my closing remark, I say that when it comes to independence of these parties, we also need leaders who are not corrupt, especially those who are heading the parties. Because the other day I heard President Kenyatta saying that he cannot leave this nation to this. And we know some of these things are what brought breakdowns in the Jubilee Party. So what I mean is that let the head of state use the right channels, like the DCI, like the police force, so that to bring these people to accountability. If one is suspected to have done something, let them be brought to books, then they are taken and judged. In a way, when one is convicted, they will be jailed or discontinued in public offices. And that will also strengthen our parties. In conclusion, thank you so much.
I will not let you pass with that again. That's also another sweeping statement that is based on erroneous understanding of how the law works. There's that tendency for us to pick political podium rhetoric and treat it as Bible truth. You can't make a constitution, give it to the public and pass, and then go ahead and start going against the same constitution. The DCI is an independent institution. The court is an independent institution. The only people that the president can directly, act on are the ones that he appoints. For example, his appointees include what? The cabinet secretaries. Those ones he can fire. But you see, coming in and saying that the president should stop doing this, he should use the DCI, are you suggesting, therefore, the president should be interfering with the way the DCI work and with the way the courts work? I think it's important, data, for us to separate facts from fiction. It is one thing to say that they are corrupt officers, but what are the institutions that have been placed by the Constitution to independently investigate, prosecute, and if possible, the DCI investigates. ESCC, of course, also does its investigation. It has those powers. Then they take it to the courts. So coming to tell us that, let the president use this, there's nowhere where the president uses the DCI and uses the ESCC. There's nowhere. That's not constitutional. That's a political rhetoric. And if we have to inform the public appropriately and adequately, which is what this platform is supposed to do, I think we need to remain faithful to the Constitution. I heard you say that we need to expand beyond the Constitution. You want us to be extra constitutional in our explanation of what is happening. I think we will be doing a disservice, or putting ourselves in a major deviation from what our purpose is. So yes, there are those feelings like what you have said. Oh, the president should use the DCI. He has all those. No, he doesn't have them. It is the Constitution that creates them. The Constitution creates ESCC. The Constitution creates the DCI. The Constitution creates the judiciary. All those are the ones that that have the process of prosecution, the process of investigation. He can't do anything. So let's be factual.
Themba, I don't understand why you should defend everything. Because I have seen in some occasions, like when some politicians are shifting from Jubilee to UDA, they are detained. Like the other day, the recent case of Anne Waiguru. These are the same people, the same government subjected her through a certain process, legal process, and a judicial process. And the committee that was selected, they rendered her like not guilty when she was alleged to have misappropriated county funds. Then, just because she has defected, she is detained. Are you telling us that there is no hand of the executive? We cannot also be blinded. And what I meant is this, that the same president, he is the head of the state. If he has goodwill...
Neto, I will not comment on your perception. I only comment
but
on...
you have already commented.
But at
least that was my opinion.
I will comment on the fact. Yes.
He needs to use the right language. If he told us that the lady MPs who defected from their parties to UDA, nobody has defected. They are associating. He is telling us that someone was detained, nobody has been detained. Kindly share
Listen, there's a difference between political rhetoric, which is what you're trying to engage in, and facts. Now, Waiguru's case started way before he even defected. His case has been there way before.
Let us culminate that, Themba, because you don't have to like cover everything. Why should you be so defensive?
You're being general again.
Everything.
Listen.
Wait. Let me conclude. Then
you're being general. You're being general again.
Like if you start now explaining about Waiguru, and I was just trying to show you instances where the executive has influenced
it's my role. It's my role. Listen, it's my role to call you out where I think I'm telling you I will not comment on your perception, but it's my role to give the true position. So the true position.
Okay, let me conclude.
Wait.
Let me give my final remark.
Hold on.
Because this will not end.
Hold on.
Because everything
because you are not listening.
No, I am a good listener. You should wait. I finish, then you criticize.
Okay, listen then.
Is that
Can
what
you
is
listen?
good listening is
Can
about?
can
Remember,
you listen?
you are the one intercepting through my conversation.
Can you
Then
listen?
I am listening you so well when you are giving your submissions. Then where am I not a good listener? It is you
Okay,
who is
listen.
interjecting within my
Okay,
2 minutes.
listen then. Thank you. You have a right to your opinion, but you don't have a right to your own facts. It's my role to give the facts as they are, but you can always have your own perception about what is happening. Now, suggesting that the president can control
No, them. You know, if you are doing it at the right time, I can acknowledge what you are saying. But if I'm within a conversation, then you interject and I've not even delivered my point, you start showing like I'm misleading, then I think that's not a good discourse. We are
yeah,
here to
because
discuss.
you see, if you make already a logical error, you'll come to a wrong conclusion. So
No,
it I owe it.
you have said I'm entitled to my opinions. So let me
Mhm.
finish my opinions. Then you criticize them. And that's why I can see Wekesa is smiling when you tell me that I'm not a good listener. Because he understands that within my 2 minutes you have come in, then you are explaining every point I'm trying to shed as if I'm talking total lies. No, you should give me my time. I finish, then you like brush and then you say Deto here, I think this is the way. Wekesa here, I think this is the way. But if I talk about the Waiguru, you explain, I tell you that corruption is also bringing about political, those are disagreement among the members. You explain, then you are also in a way affecting my thread of thinking.
Okay, listen, Ndeto, which I think it is wrong, first of all, to mislead the public. You need to separate what it is that is your opinion and what it is that is factual. It is my role to give the factual part. It's your role to give your opinion. But I've also said that this forum is not a political forum to mislead. So number one, the president does not have the role, whether it is Uhuru or it's Ruto who will be the president. There's no way, even if Ruto was the president, there's nowhere he will be in control of DCI, he'll be control of the courts. So let us not suggest that the constitution gives them that power, which is wrong, which is where you started even earlier. And even after you are the one saying that we need to wait until you finish, then we correct. Even after being corrected, you still remain in the same whatever. So it is important that I correct you. But either way, make your point.
Okay, thank you so much, Themba. You know, one person who, when it comes to independent thinking, I'm very good at that. And you know, you can either agree with my opinions. Sometimes, maybe some people will tend to disagree. But if I feel there is something I would like to tell Kenyans, you know, you are telling us of a perfect system, and I wish we are there. But unfortunately, in Kenya currently, many systems and policies are influenced by various leaders, which is against the constitution. We know the issue of dictatorship has not yet come out of the political conduit. So if we are like in America, where we have a mature democracy, like we saw what Donald Trump was trying to mobilize people against, then even you saw what happened. But in Kenya, we are still developing. So there is a possibility of various leaders influencing various independent agents. That's what I'm trying to say. So in conclusion, I would say this, that I'm happy to see the political transition. Actually, the political terrain has gone through a lot of changes. We are maturing. And I am happy to see that the leader of ODM party can come to Central Province, can come to Nyandarua. People are listening to his ideas as he sell through his campaigns. I am happy to see Deputy President going to the coastal region, getting to the Western, Nyanza, then even to Kisumu, Kodele, you know, and he is able to be given that chance to sell his policies. So me, if there is something that is making me happy, is to see that unison of purpose, that we are no longer talking about tribes. It is no longer when ODM leader maybe could have come to Central and everyone is against, or maybe the UDA leader getting to Kisumu and everyone say that this is a territory of Baba. So I'm happy to see what is happening. And that political transition, we may not see the results in 2022 or even in 2027 or even in 2032, but I believe by 2050, Kenya will be in another level when it comes to maturity, when it comes to independence of various organs of the government, when it comes also to workability of various systems, utilization of data in implementing various policies. You know, that's one of the areas that we have really lagged behind, where we have a lot of data in our archives. This data is not publicized so that it can be used by policymakers. We have very many graduates of masters and PhDs. Their good researches are never published. You know, these are the sources that of data where our policymakers can get their basis from when it comes to the socio-economic issues affecting our people. So I would like to see a president who is focused, who is data-oriented, who will support a technological functioning of the various systems in the government. And that way, when we do every system, we automate every system, we shall reduce the issues of inaccuracy, we shall reduce the issues of accountability, we shall reduce the issues of maybe doubling of various, you know, there are ghost workers still in the government. Like I saw in KEMSA, people talking about this is the number that is known, but this is the total number that is registered as working. Such ghost workers, if we automate all our systems, that way we shall be able to have an efficient way of working. So I have a lot of hope with Kenya, and I see that through the bottom-up economic approach and other approaches from various leaders, if we combine all these efforts in a way, we shall have a very good economic habitat in our country. So thank you so much. And as well, I'm still going for the MP seat that is in Kinangop constituency 2022. I am still selling my policies, and there are very many people who are willing to support me. There are those who are saying they will vote for me. Vote for Hon Mutua Ndeto. Vote for the change that you want. The roads you are talking about, the electricity, the company, the industrialization, I am going to collaborate with county government leaders so that to bring the change that we need as a people. So thank you so much, Demba.
Okay, Wekesa. Wekesa, you are muted.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that Ndeto was, I was making a good joke. How comes I was muted? I was saying that Ndeto was given 2 minutes and he used 13 minutes. That was okay. So even if he complains that you interrupted, maybe he interrupted 3 minutes, but he used 10. So it's still a gain. Now, I have also listened to Ndeto, and in his speech, he has mentioned I'm happy almost 6 times. and that is just in the conclusion I wrote. There was I'm happy also in the process. In my own submission, I would say that Team UDA or Tanga Tanga or Hustler Nation have come to a realization that whatever they were fighting was good. Handshake was a good thing. They are very happy for the results and the fruits of handshake. They did not like handshake from the from the word go, but yet they are the ones running with the baskets, harvesting the fruits of handshake. Went to Nyanza, we were received well. Raila went to Central and was received well. They are very happy about that, and we congratulate them. Moses Kuria also said this in acknowledgement that actually we only had a problem with the legal process of BBI, but everything that was in BBI is good, and it's good for our people. So we appreciate that. Now the rubber is meeting the road. The road, I don't know, is it the other way around? The rubber meets the road, yeah. And the truth is coming out. The reality is sinking that we had come up with a good process of BBI, and some of the minimum changes that maybe they would have looked for areas to strengthen if they think judiciary is not fully independent, to give it more power through the constitutional change. If they left out the political rhetoric part of Beba Baba, Ikulu, Blue Band Initiative, they would have had a chance to perfect that independence such that when they come in power, it is the constitution that demarcates where Ruto and the executive is and where Koome and the judiciary is, not his own volition. I will also say that in terms of economy, Kenyans are suffering. In April, we had 1.2 billion Kenyans on Fuliza. The recent report on September shows 1.34 billion Kenyans are Fulizering every day. So we are in a struggling economy, and we need to get our policies right in terms of economy to move forward. Unlike people who say that they have changed the conversation, actually there are issues that change conversation. And 1963, it's nobody who changed the constitution. It is the moment dictated that Kenyans need independence. So they needed to break. They say that when a time for the chick to hatch comes, in fact, it is the chick that breaks the egg. It's not the chicken that breaks the hen, that breaks the eggshell. So the moment for talking about economy has come because it's hurting. When you look at Kenyans who are out of job and who have been hurt by economic recession caused by the pandemic, you cannot have another discourse and sell. You can only make sense if you're talking about economic issues. So the Times tuned us in to discuss that, and you can come up with your own model, but allow us to censure it, because if you are allowed to go to power, it is that model that will rule us. And if we didn't get the details of the model, ole kwetu. Otherwise, it has been a good discussion, and I look forward for the next moment. Have a lovely night, dear listeners.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, Ndeto and Wekesa. It's been an awesome time as trying to interrogate the policies, principles, and what we've been hearing. I hope the listeners have picked one or two from what you have shared, and definitely we'll do this again next week on Thursday. In my opinion, comes to you again next week on Thursday. Really appreciate your comments, everyone who came in. Kindly subscribe to Tombei channel and keep liking, keep sharing, so that we keep learning together. Let's do this again next week, Thursday, same time, same panelist, same place. God bless you.